Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio. So today, I am bringing you another exciting deck list straight from the top tables of Japanese tournaments. We are looking at Garbodor and Espeon. Now, I've already done a video explaining why Garbodor is so good, link in the description, and I have done a video showing you a deck list for Garbodor with Tauros, link to that in the description. But a lot of people have been sending me emails and tweets and leaving messages in YouTube saying, hang on a second, Ross, what are the other options for Garbodor? Well, this deck made the semi-finals of a large tournament in Miyagi, so let's have a look. First of all, you shouldn't be surprised to find 4 Trubbish because, well, we need to evolve. This one just played 4 of the Trash Avalanche Garbodor, the one that for a single Psychic Energy does 20 damage for each item in your opponent's discard pile, and we all know how fast that can add up at this point. And if you don't, check out the videos in the description. None of the ability Garbodor here. This is a far more straightforward, aggressive attacking deck. We are playing for Eevee, what with the whole Espeon thing coming, and it's got to be the Sun and Moon Energy Evolution Eevee. You attach an energy to Eevee and you get to immediately search and evolve up into Espeon. And that of course explains why we're not, or at least one of the reasons, why we're not playing the ability Garbodor, because it would shut off the ability of your Eevee, and that would be just a little bit silly. Now, we're only playing 2 of the Espeon GX here, and the reason is room in the deck. Sure, we'd love to have a third one here, but we just can't spare the room, to be perfectly honest. So we're just playing 2. But as with all of this, we're playing a Super Odd, we're playing a Rescue Stretcher, more on them later, so we can recover the Espeons if we need to. Why do we play Espeon in this deck? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Firstly, it uses Psychic Energy just like Garbodor does, so you're playing the requisite energy anyway. But secondly, the attacks here are amazing for this particular deck. Psybeam does 30 damage and Confusion, which is not usually very good. But of course, this is a deck where when your opponent is facing you, they want to use as few items as possible. How do you get out of Confusion? Retreating using tools like Floatstone, or playing items like Switch or Escape Rope. Well, they don't want to play them because you've got Garbodor out. So only doing 30 damage is not ideal, but the automatic Confusion here puts your opponent in a position where they're basically forced to play items which they really don't want to do. The second attack is for 1 Psychic 2 Colorless Energy, 60 damage plus 30 for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokémon. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, you're already punishing them for playing items, now you're punishing them for putting more than a couple energy on any of their Pokémon. Adds up pretty quickly. And the GX attack, placing 10 damage counters anywhere you like can be pretty cool, but it's not something you're going to be using every turn. It's a nice option, and you get to spread them around wherever you like, maybe take multiple prizes. It's cool, but it's not the main reason to play Espeon here. One thing you do need to bear in mind about Espeon in a deck like this, it is weak to Psychic, which means in the mirror match, i.e. where you're playing Garbodor against Garbodor, you've got a 2-prize Pokemon that is weak. Although, obviously, if you're playing Garbodor, don't play your Espeon. We're also playing 1 each of FLAREON, VAPOREON and JOLTEON from Ancient Origins. This turns your Garbodor or your Espeon into Lightning, Water or Fire type. This just helps you to cover matchups. If you're against something like a Volcanion with its water weakness, you get your Vaporeon out and then your Garbodor is hitting for water weakness. And time you play a Choice Band, you need 3 items in your opponent's discard to get a 1-hit KO. 3 items is 60, Choice Band is 90, Weakness is 180. And I don't think Volcanion decks are going to be able to get fewer than 3 items in the discard and still set up. It's really nice. And of course, given that these 3 are ability based, there is another reason why we're not playing the ability Garbodor. These cover matchups, they're not always needed, but they're nice, and you're playing Eevee and Espeon anyway, you might as well play 1 of each. And this is of course one of the reasons we don't have the space to play more than 2 Espeon. We are playing 2 TAPU LELE here. Firstly, you've got the amazing ability that allows you to search out any supporter that you like. But secondly here, you're playing Psychic Energy. So you can actually use Tapu Lele's GX attack to heal all damage from 2 of your bench Pokemon for a single energy. And don't forget Tapu Lele's attack is alright as well. Just allows you to do 20 damage for every energy attached to both active Pokemon. Kind of like Espeon, it's punishing your opponent for attaching energy. And this helps us out greatly. We don't play any Shaman in this deck. Now, this was a choice of the particular player that played it, but you're talking about a Stage 1 Pokemon that attacks for 1 energy, and you're playing Tapu Lele. You don't need that much setup. We also have a couple of tech Pokemon here, and at this stage I should point out that Japan is playing X and Y on, not Primal Clash on as we are. Now you can just play this deck as is in Expanded. In Expanded you can play this deck just like this, and I contend it will be one of the best decks in Expanded. In Standard, there's only one card which you can't play, but these next 2 tech cards you might not wish to. We've got the Sensu Oricorio, we've talked about him before. 1 colourless energy, and you get to drop 1 damage counter for every Pokemon in your opponent's discard pile, not unlike Espeon GX's GX attack. In fact, if they've got 10 Pokemon in the discard, it's exactly the same, but for just a single colourless energy. And we're playing Dimension Valley, more on that in a minute, so we can actually do it here for 0 energy, which is really quite nice. It's amazing against Night March. Maybe if you're playing in Standard and Night March isn't legal, you want to switch it out for something else, but it's still a good attacker. And the last one is the Mimikyu from Guardians Rising with Copycat. Now again, in Expanded / the Japanese format, you've got Dimension Valley, which means this can be used for just a single energy rather than the 2 you would have to use in Standard, but you just get to copy your opponent's attack they used last turn. And if we add this all up, now they don't want to play items because of Garbodor. And they've got to be careful about attaching energy because of Espeon and Tapu Lele. And now they've got to be really careful about which attack they use because of Mimikyu. You are basically saying to your opponent, if you don't play perfectly, I can take advantage of whatever you do. That's a bit scary. In terms of energy, we're playing 8 Psychic and 2 Mystery Energy. Mystery Energy, remember, is not basic Psychic, so it will not activate Eevee's ability, but it does give you free retreat, or at least lowers the retreat by 2, which I'm fairly sure, it gives you free retreat with Mimikyu, and Tapu Lele, and Espeon GX. Doesn't quite give free retreat to Garbodor, but it brings down Garbodor's retreat cost to 1, which you can pay with the Mystery Energy. So it's not the end of the world, it's pretty good, helps you retreat an awful lot of your deck for free. Only 2 here because it's special energy, so it is vulnerable to things like Enhanced Hammer and the promo Jirachi. Now, we are playing 3 Dimension Valley here, and this is the one card that you really have to change out if you want to play this in Standard. And it's not the end of the world, this deck will still be good in Standard, but it means that, for instance, Tapu Lele's attack can be used for a single colourless energy, although it will still do 20 less damage because you've got 1 energy on there rather than 2. It means that Mimikyu's Copycat attack can be used for a single energy. It means that Espeon GX's Psychic and Divide can be used for 2 energy. It's not the end of the world that you don't have it, but it is not legal in Standard. You will have to switch it out for something else. Now, in terms of items, we've got 4 Versus Seeker because it's Versus Seeker. You can reuse any supporter that you like. Sycamore if you need to draw some cards, N if your opponent's had a good start, Delinquent if you want to put their hand down to 0 cards, etc. 4 Ultra Ball because it's the best Pokemon search we've got at the moment. 2 Level Ball because you can search out your Trubbish with Level Ball, and you can go and get your Mimikyu with Level Ball, etc, etc. You can get your Eevee with Level Ball. You've got a lot of low HP Pokemon here that you can search out. Yay! 2 Choice Band, we'd like more Choice Band, we don't have enough room, although maybe if you are cutting Dimension Valley, you can put more Choice Band in. 30 more to EXs and GXs, you are going to want this as much as you can. One Startling Megaphone to get rid of tools. Startling Megaphone isn't legal in Standard, so if you're playing in Expanded, just play this. If you're in Standard, switch it out for a Field Blower. It really is pretty much the same deal. One Rescue Stretcher because it's better than Super Rod if you don't want to get basic energy. It just recovers your Pokemon. And one Super Rod because as much fun as it is recovering Pokemon, sometimes you will want to recover your basic energy. So a 1-1 Rescue Stretcher Super Rod split seems about right. In terms of supporters, for Sycamore because it's the fastest, most aggressive supporter that we have in the format at the moment. N because it's the second fastest, most aggressive supporter we have, but also if your opponent takes a quick lead, you can lower their hand size, get yourself back into the game. 2 Lysander, it's Lysander. You get to take your opponent's Pokemon off the bench, bring them in the active and KO them. It wins games. You've got to play 2 here, because if you only play 1 and it's prized, that's not good. 1 LILLIE. I mean, LILLIE gets a lot better with the release of TAPU LELE, because you can search it out on turn 1 using TAPU LELE, and LILLIE is really a lot better on the first turn of the game. LILLIE allows you to draw until you got 6 cards in hand, but on the first turn of the game, or your first turn, you get to draw until you've got 8. So it really is this simple. Turn 1, use TAPU LELE, grab a LILLIE, and you hopefully draw 7 or 8 cards when you play it down. You play 1, it's not terrible, but it is very much a one-off in a deck like this. And 1 Delinquent to punish your opponent. 1 Delinquent so that if your opponent ever has a hand of 3 cards or fewer, you can play Delinquent, force them to discard all 3, and then they've got nothing. In Expanded, this deck is really good, and if you're going to an Expanded tournament tomorrow, I'd recommend taking this deck. It is that gosh darn good. Now, the list is up on the screen now, but a quick request from me. Please don't go just posting this list around in Facebook groups, etc. And this isn't me trying to sound mean, my reasoning is simple. The more people that post this list around without watching the video, the fewer views it gets, and I'm going to make daily Pokemon videos anyway. You're getting daily content on this channel. But if I see that these Japanese list videos have fewer views, then I'm just going to think they're not very popular and I'm going to make other videos instead. So if you want these Japanese list videos to keep going, and I do have people that can provide these lists, please don't post this list around, direct people to the video instead. The more popular this video is, the more likely I am to make more of them. It is not going to affect how often I make videos, but it will affect the videos I make. If you're playing this in Standard, just switch out the Startling Megaphone for a Field Blower, and then you've got to decide if Mimikyu and Oricorio are worth playing. You will have to change Dimension Valley, but you've got 3 more spaces in your deck. Maybe you play some more Espeon GX, maybe you play some more Choice Band, or some tech, some tools, etc. Whatever you like, ladies and gentlemen. The combination of Garbodor and Espeon with the other evolutions is still very strong. Now you know the deal. Make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter @TheWassy, chuck any comments down below, you know the rule, be nice, and thank you very much for watching. Look after yourselves until next time. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCGRadio.